everybody, welcome back to my channel. We're going to go over this article dropped today on October 31st for Halloween. And this comes courtesy of Deadline. I will leave a link to this article. Friday the 13th prequel series called Crystal Lake, ordered at Peacock. If you're not familiar with Peacock, Peacock is a streaming service kind of like Netflix. They had recently just put up Halloween Ends, crap movie, but service is good. I like the service. And this is going to be basically from Brian Fuller and A24 Studios. The movie follows interesting legal battles, based from Brian Miller and Sean Cunningham, which finally that crap is over with. So they're going to get moving forward, which this is good news. Despite whatever, this is good news. This moving forward means we're going to start getting some movies, and apparently a series. Sorry, I know somebody's going to ask, what about the game? Sorry, that's DOA. There is people working on that game and finished it up and still doing stuff off the side, but that's fans. Nothing to do with the studio. Sorry, that's a whole separate issue. But as far as the franchise movies, merchandise, all that, going forward. Brian Fuller he is scored a straight 2-series order for Peacock for a prequel series. Now, being a prequel series means they could mean a lot of things, guys. That was the issue me and Mac were talking about when we was first seeing this, and I'll put up our discussion later on. We have no idea what this prequel is, and this whole article, I skimmed over it, went up and down for it. There's nothing in here really saying what it's going to be about, who's in it, what characters, who's actor, not even director really. Now Brian Fuller's been around for a while. He does a lot of Star Trek. I think he did Dead Like Me and a couple others. Look him up. Good director. Don't have a problem. I mean, he's a good screenwriter and producer. Don't have a problem with him having all the lead in this. I think he'll do okay with it. A24. They did Ex Mecha, a couple of horror movies. Nothing really too flashy. I mean, I liked a couple of their stuff. I didn't watch another horror movie, just being upfront about it, so I'm not really sure how they do with horror, but we'll see how they do. But back to what I was saying, what this is about, do not know. Just know all they've said is this is prequel. And with that being said, this could be about Mrs. Voorhees and maybe Jason growing up. What led her to snap? That might include his dad. I think his name was Elias. And going with that, say, Elias abusive. Maybe it's about her just escaping from his abuse, taking Jason with her, and her trying to, as maybe a single parent, trying to raise Jason, especially deformed, and that bond between them grows because of the hardship they go through. That could be one dynamic, and I think that'd be actually a pretty good idea on the mother and son relationship and a strong bond. That is one avenue. The other avenue could actually have nothing to do with them because it's called Crystal Lake. This may just be about the community in general. And now, when I say Crystal Lake, that's not including just the campground. That could be the community surrounding there too. You have police officers and everything. There was I did a was it last year? I did an article about it. There was a series, Friday 13th. It was pitched, I believe, the CW, and that was with Sean Miller, not Victor Miller. I mean, Sean Cunningham, not Victor Miller. Excuse me. And it was Jason still alive, and it was about the community, Crystal Lake, around there. Of course, a lawsuit come out, and that just wasn't going to happen. So this it could be just about the community, guys. Meaning, you may not even see a Voorhees, period. And it's very possible they could have the first season, and let's say they order 12 episodes, the last 5 minutes, Miss Voorhees shows up at the camp to be the new, cook. And this is her son, Jason. That's very possible. So don't be expecting too much. If you're a fan, don't be expecting, I expect to see Jason with a hockey mask. That's not going to happen. I can tell you right now. Even though the lawsuit's over, and even in this article, they talking about how was one of these executive producers, he helped fund the first one. Well, that's great, but Victor Miller only has rights to Crystal Lake, Mrs. Voorhees, and Little Jason from the first one. Does not have rights to the hockey match Jason. That is Sean Miller's part. Horror Inc. Now, does that mean you won't see it? Not necessarily. I mean, depending on how this works, and my buddy Max said it comes down to checkbook. If the money's there, they're going to do it. And the series does well, you might see it. And for fans, it's very possible. Do I expect it? No, I really don't. They might do a little nod to it or something. But like I said, this is 100% not about Jason going around killing people. I actually would not be surprised if it's not even really much of a horror movie. I think it could even be a drama. Don't know yet. And like I said, there's not really much to go on here talking about this series. But like I said, it is a fantastic thing to see that something's happening finally. So we're moving forward. That I'm pretty excited about. So I think we will be seeing a lot more coming out as time goes on. There will be more coming out about this later on, and as it comes out, I'll definitely put it up. Hopefully, we'll see what the story's more about as it gets fleshed out, and also what characters are going to be. And I'm more curious if they go with the Voorhees, Mrs. Voorhees and Jason, who's going to be the actress for this? Who would be a good actress for Mrs. Voorhees? I'd be very curious about this. And Mac had asked me an interesting question. And like I said, I'll put that up later about our discussion about would I prefer to see this back when in the late 70s, early 80s, as the time set was, or would I have it more modern? To me, I think it'd be better, for one, it keeps it more true to the story, having it in, 1980 or 1979, whatever. And there's a lot more creepier stuff. And perfect example, let's say nowadays, you break down the side of a creepy road, middle of nowhere, like woods. Nowadays, you got cell phones. You can flip a phone, call for help, OnStar, all kinds of stuff. Back then, not happening. You're walking to the nearest gas station or somewhere. Hope to God they got a phone. Hope you got change for the thing. And you might be walking quite a few miles. And if you're down in the middle of nowhere, the shit, creepy road. To me, that's scarier. And there's a lot of different politics back then. People were different. Laws were different. Some things you could do back then you couldn't do now, and vice versa. Opens a whole bunch of avenues. But as far as like the creepier feel, I think it'd be better to do something back then. More back then, like I said, just for a cell phone. And that's just one example. There's a ton of examples. But it gives you, you'd feel more helpless with that. Another thing I'd say, if they go with the Mrs. Voorhees Jason, if it's done right, I think if they develop the character, which with the series you can, but for fans, if you got invested in these characters and they're done right, when the new movies start coming out, I think there would be more of a connection that way, and I think it would help the movies in general. Because people watch the series, got vested in the series, and here's the movie, and then you're like, well, hell, I don't feel bad for these people that Jason killed, but they're all pricks, for whatever reason. Something to just think about. But like I said, it may not even have nothing to do with Miss Voorhees. It may just be literally about Crystal Lake. That's 100% possible. And that's about all I can say about it because I don't know what's going on right now. There's not enough info. I'm sure in the next, in the following months come out, we'll see more and more. As it becomes available, like I said, I will make sure it's put up as quickly as I can find it. Alrighty, guys. Thank you for watching. That was short and brief. I will, like I said, there's a video coming out. Me and Mike had a long discussion about this prior to this, and some of our ideas, things we think might happen, and I will put that up shortly, probably by tomorrow, next day. But that's about all I got for today. Thank you for watching. You have a great day.